with another edition. I mean, no, this is Angela, and I've got questions for you. What opens with oh, this is the wrong sheet. What opens with what's the child's name? Sheree. Oh, you don't want to fight? You don't want to fight the battle? Oh, why you don't want to talk to Kim? Why do I want to talk to Kim? And Nene saying, oh, I want to fight the battle. Oh, I want to talk to Kim. And what closes with Nene talking to Kim and fighting the battle. If you guys Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion part 2, you're correct. Thank you so much for clicking on the video, jumping on the live, and sticking around to see how we get from opening to closing. I didn't have a chance to look at all the Twitter stuff, but some of the stuff is funny. Okay, let's go. So we pick up where we left off at the end of the last episode. Sheree is like, you know, you don't want to fight the battle with Kim. Why should I fight the battle with Kim? You don't want to talk to Kim. Why should I talk to Kim? And Nene is like, oh, I don't want to talk to her, but I want to talk to her. Like in this context, I want to talk to her. I ain't got nothing to say to her outside of this context. But yeah, we gonna talk, and I'm gonna fight this battle. And then they're trying to work out the whole bone collector job description. And Sheree is explaining to them that she is the bone collector and she defines her job description. And the people are telling her that if you're a bone collector, you have to collect them and distribute them to both sides. And Sheree disagrees, and that she did her job the way she wanted to do her job. And that's why she has the LLC for Bone Collector Incorporated, and you don't. And then we see at the same time that all of this is going on, we're seeing Eva calling Dr. Jackie because she's having contractions. And, it's just drama all around. And then at the same time, Croy and his wife are arriving. So we see Marlo and Portia, and Marlo is following Portia around the Halloween party. So that must be a throwback thing. And then we see her... Hey, now you just knew I was going to show up. Hey, Spencer Whitelow. And then Marlo bringing her, she talks about how Portia talks about how Marlo brought her out of character in Barcelona. Now, I don't know if we talked about it, but I do honestly believe that Portia has had some effective anger management, because I think she handled things better. And I think that she should continue to get therapy and get counseling, because I think that there's some opportunity for growth. We all have opportunity to grow. There's nothing wrong with it. But, we can see, the improvement. We can see that I can see that the counseling has been effective. Can you see that the counseling has been effective for Miss Portia? Yay, Portia. We give you kudos. I give you 7 hand claps. I don't know if that was 7, but if we need some extra ones, just 7 hand claps. Is that right? Yeah, it's right. We applaud that. Because she almost act like she was drug up. Like, I don't know what kind of upbringing she had, but it seems like, her best recourse for managing conflict was with these hands. And that's just kind of, I know some people operate like that, but it's not really that productive. Hello, brother, Information Man Show. So that's that. And then we have Kenya and Portia with Marlo. It's like a compilation of Kenya. Hey, Prima Donna, welcome on the chat. You're probably really here for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Some people just come in to heckle and harass. Thank you for coming, all of you. Good night, VFab you. That's how you greet people, like good night. Instead of saying, some of us say good evening, but you say good night. And it confused us, because all the other night I'm like, she's saying good night like goodbye, but you were saying good night like good morning. Right, Nikki? So we see like a compilation of Kenya and Portia, yes, with Marlo and Portia. And Portia's like, I don't know, whatever. I have no comment. I don't care. Kenya and Portia with Marlo and Portia. Oh, basically, Portia is not here for arguing with Marlo. She's not giving her any shine. She's not giving her any energy. And I'm here for it. Like, I feel like if somebody don't bring out the light for you and elevate you, then why do you need to give them energy? So, I think, as much as I'm not personally, I wouldn't want to be friends with the young woman. I encourage her, being selective in who she invests energy in. Also, Marlo is like, well, we all have records. I guess she and Kenya get into it. And I'm like, we all have records. I don't have a record. I don't be beating people. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't have a record. And I'm kind of like, okay. And then Kenya's like, well, we didn't all slash someone's face. So I don't know. What I heard from AT Alien is that the reason that there is a concern with Marlo being on the show is that I guess she got into a physical altercation with someone where she slashed their face. Because this woman's face was slashed, I guess she had like some self-esteem issues and probably some other stuff. And then I think she might have ended up, I don't know if this is true, but I think that somehow connected with Marlo fighting with somebody and slashing their face, then this person is no longer alive. And so they're like, AT Alien is like, she will never be on the Housewives. So yeah, it's kind of intense to me. I hope all is well with you. So Portia is like, touches that Nene said nice things. Oh, Portia says that she's really touched that Nene and the other women had nice things to say about her after she left Barcelona. And she expects folks to push her under the bus. Like she was kind of surprised that when she wasn't there, people had nice things to say about her. So that's good too. I like when people get a pleasant surprise. It's always nice when people are saying nice things about you behind your back. Because see, sometimes people just say nice things about you in front of your face, but you don't know what they're saying behind your back. So I was happy. Everybody should have that experience of, people like a feeling like people genuinely have your back. So, so Portia and Cynthia are arguing, and Portia is like, I came to you to start, to sort things out. And Cynthia is like, no, you didn't come to me. I came to you. And then there's footage to back up what Cynthia is saying. And then there's some Candy and Portia stuff, and we're back to this whole subject of the apology. And then Portia says, which kind of surprised me, she said, I hear you loud and clear, which let's talk about apology 101. That's almost the first thing you need to say. You need to listen to what really she needs to say. I hear you loud and clear. What I hear you saying is that you were hurt and upset because of blah, 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 blah. But I get the impression that she's just been like, I'm sorry if you felt I hurt you. So she says, I hear you loud and clear. All of it was a bad choice. That's taking responsibility, Portia. This whole episode, I've been so proud of you. Yay for taking responsibility for your choices and your behavior and how it might be affecting someone else in their life, and understanding that, they might still be mad and their jaws might be tight because of decisions that you made. And then, she says that she wished that she wasn't a part of it. That's not a real apology. And that, compared to what she's done, I feel like it's definitely heading more in the right direction. Now, I did say I encourage her to continue to get the work, get the support to do the work. Because I was kind of like, I don't think she has the emotional maturity to even begin to understand. And, the people who are out here like, she apologized, she should just take her apology. I'm like, no. And then, but she does kind of mess up to me on this apology, because she's kind of like, I just want it done. Like, I've apologized to you, I'm apologizing again, and I just want it done. And I feel like the thing about it is that the apologizer does not get to tell the apologizee how to handle their apology. So I don't get to say, I'm sorry, now you shut up and accept my apology, and I never want to hear anything about it. If I've offended you, if I've hurt you, if I messed up, you have to work that out in your own time. And I have to accept the fact that I can't dictate to you the terms of your acceptance of my apology. But anyway, and we should ask humbly, not like, I'm sorry, now shut up. But, dang, I really messed up. I'm sorry. That was really janky what I did. Whatever. But it's humbly. It's not like you better accept this apology or I'm going to jack you up, So that's her. And, you ask for forgiveness. You can't demand that somebody forgive you. But anyway, we just send the prayers and the loves out to the child, and to all of us, that we learn to, be better people and handle each other with care and compassion and love and generosity. So moving on. So back to Eva in the dressing room while the group is on the stage in break. Sheree is coming into Croy's wife's dressing room, and she's giving her the report. of what's been going on. And then the break is over, and Nene has returned this season. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, Nene returned this season. It was kind of smooth. When I heard she was coming back and they were paying her all that money, I'm like, I don't have to see Nene ever again. But now that the season is over, it's kind of like I didn't miss her necessarily when she was gone, but now that she's back, I don't really mind her. Unlike, some other people on the cast, if I never, ever, ever saw them again, or some other people who are friends of the show, who shall remain nameless. If I never saw them again, I wouldn't care. Croy's wife, people like that. So, but they talk about the fact that it was a hard season with her husband getting sick and having the heart trouble. And also Nene getting, yay, I'm going on tour with Escape. My comedy thing is building up. And now I have this gig to go on tour with Escape. Oh no, I went and I said something, I put my foot in my mouth and I told somebody, I thought she told the woman, I hope your kitty cat get taken by the Uber driver, but she said she didn't tell the person that she hoped they get raped. I don't know what she said, but getting fired from the Escape tour has been a rough year, but we get the update that Greg is great. He's taking medication for his heart issues. Oh, thank you. So, I don't know, y'all know how I am about like food and nutrition. And I know when people start having heart attacks and heart issues that it's very, very serious. And, I am not, anybody's doctor, but I just feel like a lot of our stuff, could be addressed in certain ways. And I know that it seemed like it was one episode on the season where Greg was trying to have cake and ice cream and, however he gets stabilized, I mean, that's good. You want the woman's husband to be there for as long as possible, and you want the children's daddy to be there as long as possible, and him to be there for his friends. But I want his quality of life to be good too. So, I don't know. I mean, I hope they get some additional wisdom and insight in terms of dealing with that. And then she says that she did not wish rape on anybody. She said it was a bad choice of words, and she is not mad at Candy because, Nene says that she, like Candy, is a businesswoman too, so she understands, it was a business choice. Escape had to do what they had to do. Candy is like, we sat down and agreed not to shade each other. In terms of, I guess there's some question about how their relationship turned around. Now, I don't know if the trade of these shows is shade. Like, maybe that's just like what makes the shows, what's supposed to make the shows good. Because I get very confused when the people are supposed to be friends and then in their interviews, they're like insulting each other. So, I mean, some of it is funny, but it's also confusing to me. Like, I wouldn't want my friends, being like, oh, hey, Angela. And then being like, I don't know why she got that damn rag on her head. She look a hot mess, like to somebody else or, I don't know. So I'm glad that these women agreed, not to shade each other. And I feel like they should all, like, I just think that, we always, like, there's this whole conversation about the women not having, hey, underrated darkness. There's this whole conversation about the women not having storylines. But I feel like Candy, for example, has several businesses. She has a career as a songwriter. She has that direct sales sex toy business. Like, she has, I feel like it's a lot going on. And I wish that we would get more into how she's operating as a businesswoman and what that aspect of her life is like. And, I don't know, like, I just feel like, yay, you turned in the paper for this week's module. Whoop, 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 paper done. All right, paper game, paper game, paper game, paper game. Done. All right, congratulations. Yay. So I just wish that, and I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be a good show if the people weren't throwing shade, but yeah. So Kenya is like, well, I don't know how Candy can trust a snake, meaning Nene, because Kenya's basically, I guess her position is that Nene is a snake. And then Marlo is like, well, you try to, speak so well. And, it's interesting because there's like some kind of class dynamic, I guess, going on between Kenya and Marlo. Because remember last episode, Marlo was like, you're such a weirdo. You just sit around reading books trying to learn new words. And it was like, maybe she's reading books because she likes to read. And maybe she knows words, like really bigly words, because I don't know. It just seemed weird to me. And I didn't think it was nice. I don't think I said this, but last week when Kenya was correcting, when Marlo said something about, she said something and Kenya's like, a bun is on your head. And I don't like when people, I feel like it's like shaming people for their education. Like, I don't think that's necessarily a reflection of somebody's intelligence. And I don't like when people do that. So I didn't like it when it happened last week. But it does seem like there's some weird dynamic where Marlo seems really kind of stressed out about, Kenya's education. And Kenya's like, well, blame it on my grandmother. Like, and then I feel like I know where she went to school. We Cass Tech. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't like that either. Peace to the rest of the chat. Are you leaving? So then Marlo goes on to say that it hurts her when people call her a prostitute and that, she needs receipts. Now, I don't know if it was before this or after this, but they go on to a whole thing about how she says that she dated a very wealthy man and that he purchased her house and her mother's house or something. I wasn't really paying attention. And maybe because I just don't believe her. I don't know. But, I just couldn't really pay too much attention to it. But I do kind of agree that if this woman, if her hustle is, having sex with men for money and she's grown and they're consenting and that, I just kind of feel like, okay, I don't know. I'm not a fan of, I just feel like people have their hustles and I don't really know I don't know, but calling her a prostitute is kind of funny and it's kind of like scandalous because like, I don't really know any prostitutes that I know are prostitutes. So it's kind of like, oh my God, she's a prostitute. But it's kind of mean in a way too. But then anyway, Portia is like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, Marlo, basically, because I don't want, us to get into an argument and then someone, i.e. Kenya, to have them call me a prostitute. And then Andy is like, well, you did do that, Portia. And then Kenya is like, yeah, you did do that. Portia is like, Kenya is like, Portia is like, who did that? Remember last year when she was like, who said that? Who said that? And it's like, you did that. You said that, girl. She's like, who said that? And then they have, they have some footage showing where she, was calling the child, they were going back and forth. And then they agree that from now on, no one calls anyone a prostitute without a Backpage ad. Now, Backpage, we saw notes on the news. They can't even add that prostitutes can't advertise on Backpage anymore. They have to, I guess, go out on the streets or however they, do it to get their business. And then we hear that Eva is coming out next because she's having contractions and they're about 10 minutes apart. And I'm kind of like, I don't know. I heard her doctor say something about 10 minutes apart. I don't know if she said when they get closer to 10 minutes apart, you need to go to the hospital. But I'm kind of like, why don't she just go to the hospital instead of coming on the show? But anyway, we find out that Eva is coming up next. So then we have, we're back from the break and we have Portia and Kenya, and Portia is like, Portia's like, oh, so they're talking. It's supposed to be kind of like quietly or whatever. Like it's not supposed to be officially being recorded, but it is being recorded. And Portia's like, I had forgotten about calling you a prostitute. You have a good memory. And Kenya's like, well, actually, you did it 2 years in a row. And Portia is like, well, it was true. You remember the one-eyed African? And Kenya is like, no, I wasn't dealing with any one-eyed African, and I was not paid to have sex with him. And Portia's like, you admitted it. I know him. And Kenya's like, that's your problem, going around repeating everything that you hear. Now, Kenya has been repeating some stuff too. They all seem a little on the gossipy side to me. But I think that that is a problem. We can't just repeat everything we hear, or many things that we hear. Eva is like, she told Candy on the trip that she was pregnant. Andy asked her, so you pregnant now? Did you know? It's kind of funny. Didn't she just have her baby last night or the night before? And then we see her on the show, which was probably filmed at least a month ago, right? Give or take. And she like going into labor, and we like, she gonna have the baby. And she did have the baby, but it like gets our time thing twisted around because the reunion was a while ago, but she just had the baby now. I think it's a baby boy, right? It was either that or a baby girl, but I think it was a baby boy. I can't remember now either. And she had told Candy that she was pregnant when they were, I guess, in Barcelona. And Candy is like, see, I can keep a secret. And Cynthia's like, well, I can keep a secret too. And then Eva, they just show Eva. It's probably editing, but Eva's just like sitting there like she doesn't have any comment to make. So does Cynthia have a bad reputation for not, like she can't keep a secret? And Candy and Cynthia, they talk about the whole Cynthia and the aggressive pursuit. Eva had a baby boy. All right. I don't know his name, but yeah, so Eva had her baby. Hopefully he's healthy and all of that. Healthy and happy and well loved and well received. So Cynthia brought Candy. Oh, so there's this whole conversation about Cynthia's pursuit of Candy. And basically somebody is like, it kind of boils down to the fact that Cynthia wants, if Candy is going to like anybody, Cynthia feel like, shoot, if you into women, why aren't you into me? You better recognize, so she's trying to get, if Candy going to be interested in somebody and pursuing women, Cynthia is like, you better pursue me. So Cynthia is basically just trying to, according to her, but we do find out that Cynthia bought Candy a pair of shoes. See, when they were in Barcelona, Cynthia was like, well, if I got with Candy, I would be the best housewife. I would cook for her. I would clean for her. I would make sure, but now we find out that instead of Candy pursuing Cynthia and buying her gifts and stuff, that Cynthia is pursuing Candy and buying her gifts and stuff. But anyway, they say they're playing around. They're just playing around. And I'm like, do they like playing around? Or do they like playing around? I mean, not that it's any of my business. They're grown people and they should do grown people thing. I don't know. And then we see some lost footage. I don't know if y'all remember the for the D challenge, like when there was like people were I'm not a good rapper, but women were rapping about what they would do for the D. I take I get hit by a car for the D, or whatever. It was cute. I can't do it. But it was going around, and I guess while it was going around, they recorded. They had a little segment where Candy had written verses for everybody. So they show, her reading the verses that she wrote for everybody, or rapping the verses that she wrote for everybody. And then people guessing who it was. It was like a really fun, cute segment. Because it was like everything was personalized to everybody in their little stories. And then when they get back on the stage, when they come back from the old footage to today, Candy is like, well, I have one more verse that I already knew it was going to be for Mr. Andy, what he would do for the D. And it was from Mr. Andy. And it was cute. The whole little segment was very cute and light and fluffy. And, I like that. Well, I guess labor, right. And then I'm kind of like, I was kind of confused because the child was supposed to be in labor when she got on stage, Miss Eva. And, she was there, putting people in check. So I guess that maybe for her, like maybe labor, especially a month out, is probably more like having cramps. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I have cramps, I feel bad. But I could like stand up for the camera and be like, look, Miss Missy, you not going, you know what I mean? Like, even though I don't really feel good. So I guess that's how it is for, Miss Eva with her labor, her cramps, her contractions that she's going through. So we have some conversation with Miss Eva there about Cynthia and Will Jones. And Andy is like, did you see each other off of the show? Really trying to establish or, kind of get at this idea that that was a fake relationship, that Cynthia was not really dealing with that man. And Cynthia's like, we did see each other after the show, outside of filming. And Andy is like, well, did you all sleep together? And Cynthia's like, Andy. But it turns out she says that they did not, that she was heading in that direction, but that they did not, consummate their relationship in that way. And the people are kind of like, the other women are like, well, dang, the way you were going hard for him, I thought that he was just laying it down hard. And that's why you were just going so hard for him. And, just like watching everything and like vibing it out, I could really kind of start to see and feel, where, she probably is still dealing with her so-called ex-husband, Peter, who, the word on the street is there's no real record of their divorce and that she not really into Will. And then they like, I thought it was something up with that brother. And then they're like that, Will, like, they pointed out also that Cynthia's type, what Andy is like, well, usually I see you, with dark-skinned guys, because we know her daughter, Noelle's daddy, Lewis, what's his name? It's like one word, the model guy, model guy is like tall and dark. And Peter was tall and dark, highly melanated, as one of my friends say. So it's kind of like Will doesn't exactly fit into her profile. You think she's still in love with Peter? Yeah. So I could kind of like see that, I hadn't really, I wasn't really sure before, because I kind of feel like when the camera, it's like, it's kind of hard to know what's going on in people's hearts and minds, but, so, I think that, Cynthia just kind of was like trying to keep the storyline going, and, maybe Peter didn't, I don't know, but, Cynthia says that she's not concerned with Will lying, which that whole thing was really weird. Her first husband was that brother. Leon. Yeah. I thought his name was Leon, and I didn't know that was her husband. I thought that was her daughter Noelle's father. I didn't know that they had ever married. But yeah, Leon. That's not his name. Leon. But I thought that whole thing was weird, because Cynthia's like, she's not concerned with Will lying. She's just concerned that he was not dating anybody while they were dating. And I'm like, the whole way that it was edited, it was like not a good look for Will, because he's like, I haven't dated anybody in 2 or 3 years. And then when baby girl Eva confronted him, he's like, well, the woman you saw me with, I'm not dating her now. And then, Andy on the show was like, well, Cynthia, when was your 50th birthday party? Because that's supposedly when she and Will started like, dealing with each other. And she's like, in June. And then Andy is like, well, Eva, when did you meet Will at the cigar bar? And then it's like June. So it's like, it does seem like there was some overlap. And like, this theory that he's like, shoot, I got an opportunity to get paid to be her boyfriend, or to get this exposure to be her boyfriend. Hey, I'll dump whoever I'm with, or we have an agreement or whatever, so that I can get this shine. See, people are interesting. We like people trying to understand what's really going on. And you see the stuff edited, and you see the stuff on the TV, and it's kind of like trying to figure it out and then piece together what's happening in real life. And, and then it's not like, even though it's edited, it's not exactly written like in a book or something is written, but this is like real people, which is kind of, it's kind of bad, because I don't like to talk about real people, but, so anyway, so that whole thing was weird, and we talked about that. And then Cynthia is like, well, there's this whole conversation about Portia and Cynthia, and the fact that, we saw footage of Portia saying, well, do you really want to know what I thought and what I think or what I know about Will? And Cynthia's like, sure. And then when Portia says, well, I think that someone told me that he was an opportunist who was taking this opportunity to get an opportunity to, opportune, because that's what opportunists do. That's what Portia has said. And then, Cynthia's like, I'm not here for it. And then she's like, we have a difficult history off camera. She had been Portia had been very supportive of me, and the only one that was supporting the relationship. So when she said she was going to tell me the truth, I figured it was going to be some stuff I wanted to hear. I didn't think she was going to be telling me this stuff. And then plus, before, she was saying the thing about my husband, and this line about her husband, when the child said, find out how your waitresses are getting paid. Peter's waitresses, Cynthia's husband. They're getting paid full of penis. And that was like a flashback. And when she said it then, like every time I hear it, it just sounds so crazy to me. Because I feel like young women, she's like, every 19-year-old he's after. Now, young women are usually not after, I know I'm trolling Angela. I guess since I'm a mod, I'll just block myself. I know, not only trolling me, but trolling the willing participants in the, trying to like, pull people onto the bad side of people who don't like romantic comedies. So that whole line, we get a flashback of that, which I thought was just really weird and crazy at the time that she said it. And every time I hear it, it's just like the craziest, kookiest line to me. You ain't gonna be good worth of nothing. And then Portia's like, I text an apology. And Cynthia, and then she's like, well, Cynthia probably, doesn't have my number in her phone. And so that's probably why she didn't respond to it, because she didn't know who it was who was texting her an apology. And Cynthia's like, I'm working on it. And then we see Will and Cynthia, or, Cynthia lets us know that she and Will are taking time apart. And Andy is like, you seem to like darker guys. And Nene is like, yes. And Andy is like, so have you met Peter's new girlfriend? And Cynthia's like, no. And Andy is like, who would be your maid of honor if you got married? And the child is like, Cynthia's like, well, after a minute, she's like, well, Nene would be my maid of honor because she had me in her wedding, and Kenya did not even invite me to her wedding. And y'all know Kenya's jaws were like all tight, but I thought Cynthia handled it graciously, and she sort of kikied and laughed. And I don't know why these grown women especially are just so competitive over this friendship. Like, can't we all just be friends? Like, I don't understand. Is this like 7th grade? I wasn't even like that in 7th grade. But I mean, it just seems so weird to me that we can't all just be friends. So anyway, Eva is upset. Oh, so Eva's still there? I thought Eva had been gone to have her baby or go see her doctor. But Eva is upset about Messy Mia's question. I love how she called Shamia Messy Mia. I thought it was going to catch on. It only caught on with me. But I was like, oh, that's going to catch on. But that's just me. And she felt that it was slander, of Missy Elliott's career and, and someone is like, well, if it was a man, and she asked if you were dealing with a man, would that be slander? I don't think so. I think it was Kenya that was asking it. And then at this point, Eva goes to the hospital. When Eva goes to the hospital, leaves to go to the hospital, in comes Croy's wife. We find that, it's been 5 years since she's been on the show, and she's back this season as a friend of the show. I don't know why she's not a friend. I don't know. And she's carrying her shoes, and she also has a red Solo cup. I really don't understand the concept of the like red cup brand and her carrying alcohol around. Maybe you have to be a drinker to understand it, or maybe it's something from, Tardy for the Trailer Park Party, or whatever people call, whatever that show is. Maybe it's like an inside joke from that show. I don't know. I've never seen it before. So Andy asked if Croy is in the parking lot with the engine running. Everybody is very, very dry when she comes out. And Andy is like, well, you look younger than you did 10 years ago. Now, I might have been looking down when she came out, but they should have done the montage of her over the years. But Andy does let us know that her lips are much bigger. She looks younger, but her lips are much bigger. And then he asked her, what is the end game on your lips? And I'm like, Andy. But I mean, it's a good question, because it's like they can only get so big before, like, what's the plan? When are we going to stop this? What's the end game? What you trying, what's going on? What you doing? So that was very shady. So then we have a whole like elephant room thing. Oh, the elephants and the big elephant in the room. And Mbele, y'all remember Mbele? I feel so sad for her, because I think that was such bad advertisement for her business. I would never go to Mbele, but I love her name. I don't know what it means, but Mbele. So we had the whole conversation about the elephants in the room and the elephants out of the room, and there ain't no elephants in the room, and the elephants in the elephant room, and all of that. And then I thought that was the weirdest scene of the whole season, that whole elephant room thing, and like seeing it like repeated. It was just like, wow, it was just very strange. And then we see Portia and the Croy's wife holding hands. I need a black hand for my avatar that I just put in there. And we see Portia and Croy's wife holding hands, and Portia is like, basically if she wasn't holding hands with Croy's wife, then she'd have been laying hands on Miss Kenya. So it's kind of like, okay. What else? When we come back from the flashbacks, we see that the base of the table where they're sitting around on the couch at the hotel is elephants. So I hadn't noticed it before, but the cameras zoom in on it, and we talk about, the elephants in the room, and, there's a short conversation about Mbele. Hey, Miss Red. There's a short conversation. We need to exchange emails to talk about the Grand Rapids, Big Rapids, Black-owned restaurants I found, the Jim Crow restaurant, dates, and try to coordinate some stuff. So I am befabulous@gmail.com, befabulous@gmail.com. I don't know if I'm gonna put it in but that's for you, Miss Red, and for Yappa Yappa. Okay, so we talk about the fact that the singer, what's the child's name? Candy has had psychics tell her before and psychics tell her after that, she has the sight, a gift, a slight gift or something. And, she's still trying to figure out how to use it, how to use it to make money. I think she's a Taurus. She seems like a Taurus. She seems very food, comfort, and money oriented. And everyone else that is going to see the share. But anybody, you can email me. What do people do? Usually people give out their email for people to question them, give them questions for advice. But okay. So we talk about that, and then Andy is like, well, can you see what's going to happen, with the reunion? And Candy is like, it's about to blow up in about 2 to 10 minutes or whatever she says, and everybody giggles, except Nene and Croy's wife. They look very tense. And then Portia said, oh, we talked about that. Okay, so then we see footage of Sheree and Croy's wife talking about Cynthia being lucky to be pretty. So Cynthia is like, this whole thing of, she's kind of talking about how she's offended that they kind of been dogging her out, saying, if she wasn't pretty, we don't know what would happen, because she's made a career off of being pretty, and she's really not that bright, which I think is really interesting for someone like Sheree in particular to be saying. Because Croy's wife, we know that she was a registered nurse, so that takes a certain type of, academic discipline. But the word on the street is that Sheree hasn't graduated from high school. And not that, where you are educationally is necessarily a reflection of intelligence, but some of her choices and some of her presentation, it seems like she's definitely not, and like she's had this platform and she hasn't used it. And, it seemed like she get with the wrong team. I guess she just following her heart, but I don't know. I think that she probably should not be saying anything about, people being, because at least Cynthia is beautiful and has been able to make a lot of good money off of her looks, and we don't get to choose whether we're beautiful or smart. God blesses us with that. We don't, but they're like, oh, we didn't say it. Croy's wife is like, I didn't say that. And then, Bravo shows footage of them talking about Cynthia being lucky to be pretty because she doesn't have anything else going for her. And this is some Bravo show that I don't watch. I guess it's something that happens online, some kind of after show. I don't like Croy's wife. I don't even like saying her name. I wish that she was not. I don't have to have her on the show. Then Nene said, so then Sheree is like, well, I didn't think we had issues to Nene. And, what are our issues? And Nene is like, we don't have issues. Like, she's not even going to look at Sheree, acknowledge Sheree. She has nothing for Sheree. Sheree, as far as she's concerned, is not even she has nothing for Sheree. But she says the only issues that she has are with Croy's wife. And then Nene and Croy's wife are arguing. And then there's footage showing Croy's wife, lying about being at the mall. She's like, I didn't see you at the mall. And then we see some footage of her saying, I saw her at the mall and she was in a handicap spot. And we know she's been circulating this footage of the woman in the handicap spot. And when she said she was in the handicap spot, I'm like, her husband had a heart attack. They probably have a handicap sticker because, he was having some major health issues. Like, what is this foolishness, Croy's wife? What is this foolishness? And then we see, it just gets kind of intense, but Miss Nene is getting into that behind. She's getting into that behind. So that was the end of the episode. Yeah. I know everybody, like a lot of people are really happy because the word on the street is that by the time she left the reunion, and when we come back next episode, other people will continue to get on her. So people are happy that by the time she left the reunion, she was literally in tears. And I'm just like, I'm not here for it. All of this all season, like, Nene has roaches. Nene is on drugs. I think Nene is high. It was I think it was one other thing that she was saying that I feel like that's like stereotypical black, BS. And I don't know why and I can't figure it out. I'm like, does she have any fans? I know I said this last week because I'm like, Portia has fans. I may not be a fan, but there are people who are like, Portia is great. Portia shouldn't have, but I don't know who out here. And then it seemed like I thought it was the producers, but the way they have it edited, she's out here looking straight like a liar. It's just like it's not hidden. They not faking the funk. But anyway, that's all I got on this one. I did already do Real Housewives of Potomac. So I guess that's what I'm about to do next. But thank you so much for liking, commenting, subscribing, being here, being you. I appreciate it. Yay, you. You're the greatest. Did I miss anything important? You are the best. Yes. You are the best. Yeah, so, and then there's this whole conversation going on. So I'm finished with the review, but there's this whole conversation going on. I don't know if it's going on throughout, but people are like, and I don't know if I don't watch the other Housewives, but they're like, none of the other Housewives shows have, they're not integrated cast. So why do they have to have this white woman on there? And of all of the white women to have on there, why this white woman? And the same thing to me happened with the other white woman on Married to Medicine. It was like they had the one white woman and she seemed like racist. So maybe that's like an Atlanta thing. I don't really know. And it reminds me of that episode of the TV show Atlanta where the guy was trying to spend $100 bill and the movie theater is like, we don't take $100 bills. And then the white man came up and they took the $100 bill. And then he went up to the white guy and he's like, I just tried to cash $100 bill. And then the guy just lifted up his shirt and he had a gun. Like he ain't even look at him like, I'll shoot you, Nigger. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what kind of, and nobody blinked and it was just like, so maybe that's just how Atlanta is, but I am not here for it at all. I don't appreciate it, I don't appreciate it. And then, I don't understand the red cup. I don't understand, and they say when she's like, hey, biatches, and all of that, I'm like, does she do that on her show? Is that like her natural carriage? Is that her comportment? Is that how she carries herself everywhere? Or is that like a special role that she plays on this show? Because it's really not, it's not cute or attractive. And I feel like she is really, really, old. And everybody has their style, but I'm like, she's too old for that mess and foolishness. A lot of times Nene to me, all of them are too old for some of the mess and foolishness, but we all learn when we learn, whatever. That's it. So be you, be fabulous, you, be you. Be fabulous, you. Yeah, turn her on. Sit on all the people. Because you know what I find? Like sometimes when I'm listening to other people, I feel like the way I perceived it, like even if I talk to my mother about it, we're processing it differently than the way, you know, somebody who's 20 or 25 might be processing it, or somebody who hasn't been married, or, you know. So, you know, sometimes it's like some overlap, or like there's this one guy who, you know, whatever. But yeah, turn her on. I love all subscribers, watchers, all of that. I'm so positive. I'll call her today. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to be. And I feel bad because it's like, you know, they're playing a character and you know it's edited to like hype up the characterness of it. But, you know, I don't know. I just, you know, I wouldn't want anybody out here, you know, because we know it's not like, it's kind of their real life, but we know it's not exactly their real life. So I don't want to be too hard on them. So that's what I got. I'm about to come back with Real Housewives of Potomac so we can go to bed. Peace, y'all.